A coworker used AI synthesis in order to frame his boss. How wild is that? Some guy collected audio clips of his boss, used AI synthesis in order to create a rant, attributed that rant to his boss, and used that as a mechanism to get him fired. Thankfully, it was discovered. I'm guessing the AI composite didn't do a particularly good job, and audio markers made it easily identifiable as a fake. But it's crazy that this is even a story. Artificial intelligence digested a person's speech pattern, their inflection and tone, and was able to generate a reasonably plausible affectation of that person using arbitrary racist and anti Semitic commentary. And it was used as a weapon to get them fired or get the person targeted fired. Thankfully, this was subverted. Like they were able to determine that this was a fake. But could you imagine? Could you imagine being in this guy's shoes? This guy Eric Icewort, I guess his name is. Could you imagine being in this guy's shoes and all of a sudden you go to work and people are considering what you didn't say? They're looking at you in consideration with terminology that you didn't bother to ever speak. And it's being used to target your career. I can only imagine the amount of discomfort that would feel like, because there's a lot of things you can deny at face value. Like you can come into work and say, "Oh, well, you stole my parking lot." Like, "No, I didn't." Or my parking spot. Like, "No, I didn't. I parked over there. You can see my car is right over there." Oh, okay, that's easily provable. But if somebody comes to you with a recording of your voice and says, why did you say this?" The only rebuttal you have is, "I didn't say that." And if it's your voice, then, well, you're up a creek without a paddle. So investigators who actually investigated this were able to determine that it was simulated, and it wasn't actually the targeted individual that was responsible for the comments. So it was resolved. But the more interesting part about this is that this technology is now being utilized on an individual basis as a weapon. People suggest that AI is a weapon, and I don't see them as wrong. But I also don't want to fearmonger about technology. However, having the ability to transform voice, having the ability to transform visual mediums such as video, being able to transpose one face onto another and such, is a whole can of worms. It's a whole can of worms, and I'm pretty sure anybody who's ever been exposed to this topic has had similar thoughts. How do you regulate a technology like this? Because humanity has never really been faced with this type of thing before. And if it's regulated and banned, perhaps let's say the technology is banned, well, then the public will be less suspicious of video and audio recordings that have come out, and they would be wrong to be less suspicious, because the people who would be capable of doing these things, government agencies, foreign adversaries, individual corporations that still maintain these capabilities, would be capable of shaping narratives, because the public would be less suspicious because of the banned status of the technology. So is it better to have this technology available and rampant? That way people are innately more suspicious? Or is it better to ban and regulate this type of technology, but allow it to exist in darker spaces so that people aren't as suspicious of things that come out? I think both sides have negatives and drawbacks. I don't see a lot of positives outside of the humorous aspect of this, Like you have YouTube videos where you have video game characters and politicians speaking to one another in humorous context. And that is super, super, super entertaining. I enjoy those very, very much. But outside of those contexts, I can see this being very harmful. And this is one example of such harm being visited upon an individual person. But yeah, really interesting school, or really interesting story. Pikesville High School. The person responsible for creating the AI generated voice is Dazon Darian, and the principal that was affected was Eric Icewert. Yeah, this piece of crap here, Dazon, uploaded it to social media, and he was attempting to use a cancellation mob to target his boss, who he didn't like. To be honest, I bet that Eric is a complete jerk. I bet he's an asshole. But I bet this guy's an asshole too. I bet that this guy did it because this guy was so much of an asshole, and the personal politics of their relationship wound up becoming national news on CBS here. It's kind of funny when you think about the individual circumstance to which this would have been a reasonable solution. How much hatred had to be in Dazon's heart here for him to just tap on his forehead maniacally while uploading audio clips to in AI to generate to generate this output. I'm sure whatever he was thinking, if we were there, whatever this Machiavellian plot, whatever caused this insanity, I'm sure it would be hilarious to see upfront and personal. But yeah, okay, so whatever. It's pretty neat. People are using robots to frame one another based on work grievances. What a world, what a world, what a world.